Hi stock investors, JJ here. Welcome back. Couple of videos to react to here today. This one first, and then I'll do the second video after that. This one's about Tesla. Tesla will disappoint investors despite better than expected 2Q deliveries. This analyst from Wells Fargo says, let's see what he's got to say. Let's see what his basis is for this.
Thanks to Tesla, bear case is intact despite that delivery beat. Colin Langan is the firm's senior equity analyst. Colin has an underweight rating, a $120 price target on Tesla's
$120 price target. It's getting way above that now, isn't it? Let's just see what it is actually at the moment. It's 246.39 right now as I speak, so way above that target. Well, let's see what he's got to say.
Stock. Nothing has improved in your view based on this?
I mean, based on today, I mean, deliveries are still down year over year. So, you know, we had a much lower number for the quarter, so it was a better quarter. How did they get there? That giant financial incentives. You could get the part for a week and a half, you could get 1% financing. That's about $100 in your payment per month. It's a very generous deal, probably over $5,000 in incentives. You know, if this is nothing techie at it at all based on, you know, what Phil was saying. I mean, this is a traditional auto story. This is cut the price, drive volume. This is our concern. This is the reason why we originally downgraded, because we're seeing the price cuts.
Cut the price and drive volume. That was what Elon Musk did say, that they were happy to do that. They were, you know, which is drop margins to increase volume, but volume hasn't really increased. It's actually down 5% year on year so far. So there is a lot of excitement. Is it being driven by this 8th of the 8th? That will go up to fever pitch just as the next earnings come out. It's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens when these next earnings come out in late July, and we're into July. It's nearly the 4th of July already.
Cuts are not driving volume. Now we have both negative pricing and negative volume. How are we going to grow deliveries into the second half? Numbers still have to come down. And Q2, that's going to be a problem, because if pricing is down, margins are going to be poor.
I thought it was interesting, too, when you take a look at the countries that had subsidies for EVs versus the countries that pulled them back. There was a difference in deliveries. So in the countries where there were EVs, like a Turkey or in Italy, you know, it was up. And then in the countries that pulled back, like France and Germany, some of the more core markets, deliveries were down. So it really is, I mean, it's like a typical story. You get the incentive there, whether it be them buying down a rate or an EV incentive because the government's giving it to you, and you got the sales.
So we're talking about market by market here. Now, it is definitely a global market. Tesla's going for that global market. The auto industry, if we're talking about autos, a lot of people say Tesla is more than an auto company. It certainly is. Definitely, you know, energy, stationary energy there is doing well as there's this robo-taxi talk. And the Optimus robot, which is in the future, $0 coming from that right now. So we'll have to see what happens there. You know, it is going to be interesting when these earnings come out in late July, just what the margins are going to be like there. And if Elon Musk, he is telling a story. It's about the story. Sometimes I get the feeling where he tries to not cover up, but he's definitely, you know, a master of telling the story of the future rather than what's happening in the business now. It was fine when they were growing 50% a year. That was the story, and that was in the financials and the margins, but things have changed.
I mean, it's absolutely concerning. Yeah, you see markets like Germany and France down large double digits year over year because of the incentives. And in fairness, there's some pull forward factors. But yeah, once you pull the incentives back, volumes start to collapse, really.
So one of the bullish points that people make is FSD, full, you know. When do you think that will happen? Do you think it will be the gigantic top line and the margins on it would be tremendous? When or ever do you think that will happen?
Well, full self-driving, I mean, there's a little bit of help in the quarter from the release of the full self-driving sort of prototype or, you know, demo, and some people might adopt it, and there's a little pricing up. I think it's going to be pretty small. I think if you're talking true full self-driving robotaxi, we're going to get the reveal on 8/8. I think, you know, typically I actually also take the contrary point here. You know, you get the hype into the reveal. You were talking earlier about all the hype and all of what's probably going to come. And typically it actually falls after that, because then there's this realization it's going to take long. And when
Interesting. Yeah, remember Battery Day? I don't know if you have been following Tesla since Battery Day, but there's a lot of hype around that. And it really, what they were talking about there really hasn't come to fruition. In fact, some other companies have sort of, well, I mean, they're buying batteries from BYD, one of their main competitors, as partly as well, aren't they? So interesting what he says here. There'll be a lot of hype before that, and then traditionally drop after that. I don't I haven't looked to see if that's true, but there's definitely the story, the narrative running through that, and this earnings coming up could be, as I made a video, that guy who said that Tesla should be $15, I think he said, and he thinks this earnings coming up is going to be a disaster. It remains to be seen. These deliveries have been a little bit better, but still down year on year.
And when I talk to experts, people are very skeptical of a vision-only approach. How do you deal with fog? How do you deal with glare? I think if you look at a lot of things, go back to...
That's a good point. Do you have little wipers or to spray the cameras to keep them clean? In every condition, everywhere, or do you have to turn that off? So if you don't have a driver, what do you do? It just parks on the side of the road if there's a problem? It's going to be tough. It is going to be tough, except for maybe in the, like what Waymo's doing in the inner city areas right now, a geofence. Will that be the way they start, or will they have a remote driver, not actually in the car, but monitoring it elsewhere? That's another possibility that I've heard.
To like Waymo,
just to start off with, that is.
Waymo and Cruise, they were supposed to deliver full self-driving 5 years ago. But what happens is you get so hyped about the technology, you don't realize getting to that last 1% is a lot harder. I think that's partly what's going to happen here to Tesla. They're all this hype, all this excitement about robotaxi, but it's probably going to prove to be a lot harder to get to.
It has been hard to get to already. It's been, what is it? It's 2014, 2015. You go back and Elon Musk has said that he thinks it's going to happen by this year, by this year, by this year. It's already those last few percentages have been really hard.
And so I think once you get this, 8.8 reveal, what's the next catalyst? We already got a lot of hype into it. So typically it often fades.
By the way, full self-driving is called supervised full self-driving, right? Isn't that what the regulators are saying that it needs to be called? And the other point is like it's low single digits of Tesla owners who've actually taken up full self-driving. So it's interesting. They're going to have some real technological advances for large numbers to do that. My question to you, though, after my little thing.
Monologue.
Yeah. Well, we call it a soliloquy.
It happened already,
if we were
so
sophisticated.
go ahead.
A lot of your competitors, it's interesting. They say it's not a car company. Well, the move that it just had over the last couple days is, because it's a car company, right? And so how do you think about that a little bit? Because people are talking about Optimus, they're talking about FSD and all these advances and robotaxi. That seems to be a big part of the bull case.
Well, I wouldn't really say that the move the last couple of days is because of the delivery. I mean, it is deliveries, but if GM beat a little bit, would they be up? I mean, if volumes were down.
No, my point is,
it's because
it's a $700 billion market cap company, and very little of it has to do, at least a lot of your competitors are suggesting, about the sales of these cars right now. It has to do with all this other stuff.
The future story.
What's that?
The future story is what it's about at the moment. So let's see, view from the street. Buy 22 analysts have got a buy rating, hold 16, sell 9. Analysts don't really have many sell targets or sell calls on stocks these days, but still overwhelmingly buy now and it has ramped up. And the move in Tesla would be from Wall Street, not necessarily from retail investors. It has to be because there's such a big volume involved, and it's gone up 40% in the past month.
I mean, it's obviously true, right? I mean, it trades at 90 times earnings. I think my problem is that you're betting so much, on the value of robotaxi, and it probably has a pretty low probability of being a true success. And the core business, by the way, is deteriorating. And by the way, the Chinese competition are coming in and actually doing really good cars. I was out in Detroit at a teardown facility a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's amazing with the technology that China's bringing in. The leaders are not really, Tesla's really not necessarily the leader anymore. It might be the Chinese companies, the EV makers there, like BYD. Yeah,
there's a lot going on there with BYD being one of their major competitors. So what do you think? Do you think that, their price target on it was 120 there, wasn't it, by the end of the year? Do you think that's going to play out, or do you think that robotaxi is going to be a big success and roll out pretty quickly, or is it going to take some time? I mean, what do you think? And that, the stock price is one thing, and what's happening with the company is another thing with Tesla stock. It's all about this future story. It has been from time to time. They've been, Elon Musk and the company have been able to tell the story where it goes very well. But having said that peak was well over 400, and we've still got a way to go there. Will this robotaxi ramp make that happen again? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you want to watch another video from, well, I'm going to put a link on the screen to a video that YouTube wants you to watch. Now, it could be one of mine, it might not be one of mine, and that's fine. But also subscribe here if you want to get more of this kind of content in the future. Thanks for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next one.